Will, I want to start with you because I want to ask you a little bit about Buster, not just as you
Mm,
play him, but he's out there. And I'm curious if
mm.
you interacted or if you researching him might have been a little different maybe than for some of the other your castmates.
Yeah, it's certainly kind of a different approach. I didn't have any interaction with him. We had a really amazing resource in the team because a lot of them were involved, you know, very early on in the case, and they had a wealth of information there. We received a huge binder of like 500 pages of research about the case. It was went by character and incident and timestamps, and so we relied really heavily on that. But it's always nerve wracking playing a real person, but also an amazing, amazing challenge to have an actual reference to build a character off of.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people are interested about him now. So I was curious if that like struck your chord for you. You were like, what's happening with this guy at this moment? But you didn't have to.
It certainly does, but then also at some point you kind of have to push a lot of that to the side just to get over the nerves for yourself and just focus on the script and shooting those scenes that day.
Yeah, of course. Johnny, Paul is really conflicted, obviously, and you find a way to capture some of the empathy or compassion for the
Mm.
suffering. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it's probably really difficult, I would think.
It certainly is hard. It's a challenge for sure. I think, as an actor, you want to find empathy for any character you're playing, real or not. And with Paul, there's so much going on. And I think he's just like the perfect example of like two things can be true at once. He had actions that had real life consequences, and then of course something horrible happened to him. And so I didn't want to view him as like a black and white sort of situation. And so finding that empathy, but not excusing the actions was like a thing that I was really trying to balance. But yeah, very definitely a challenge for sure.
You were in Reacher season 3, which
Yeah,
our audiences loves. And I'd
so
love to hear
good.
you talk about working on that, working with Alan, but also like what you think, like Richard, what's gonna happen to Richard, you know?
What's he up to? Oh man, I hope he's having a good time, sort of just like painting, at some cabin in the woods and he's living his life. No, yeah, talk about a very different production than Murdaugh. Reacher is just a really, it's this fantasy world of like action, and you have Alan there and he's incredible. Such a well-oiled machine too, but that was such a fun set to be a part of. Also my first
Alan
time
or the
around
set?
like oh no, all of it. Everything was amazing, but Alan was a great leader. And yeah, car explosions and chases and
So
all that
fun.
was just really fun to be a part of. It was my first time being, in the middle of action like that. It was so cool.
Yeah, when you guys reviewed this massive textbook, can you tell me some of the things that you learned in there that really changed like performance that were like that like what were the
Mm.
things that stuck in all that you think of now that were like that's really identified who I was playing here?
Mm.
Maybe Will you
There,
could or
yeah, I mean, there was like there was so much in that book. There was photos, childhood photos that I had not
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
before that really informed the environment that they were raised in,
yeah.
which was really, really I don't know, important, I think, to sort of hold on to that and then go into production. But yeah, there was just so much. There was like an endless wealth of knowledge. And having been familiar with the story and then going into production and seeing all of that, so many things I didn't know was just wild.
Yeah, it just gave a much more well-rounded kind of picture of what it might have been like to be a member of this family.
Mhm.
And yeah, like Johnny said, those photos were
real quick
really
what
revealing.
yeah, what were in those photos? I'm really fascinated to know.
Well, it's just so different from my upbringing. I mean, I grew up in the woods, but I wasn't a hunter, but like, just seeing them all decked out in camo and a lot of,
Yeah, yeah.
photos like that. And it's just a childhood that juxtaposed with a lot of like wealth and privilege was something that was really striking to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I have to wrap. Thank you guys so much for your time. Great work on this, and it was really nice talking to you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Likewise.